Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Gamer Dad channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. So today we're going to be looking at Tom Clancy's The Division 2. That's what's on the chopping block. But we'll also be talking about other Tom Clancy franchises because it's very hard to talk about one without talking about the others. All of them are under the publisher Ubisoft. Even though they're being worked on by other studios across the Ubisoft pipeline, there are a few things that affect each other as each game or DLC release expansion is in the works. So for The Division, nonetheless, we're looking at The Division 2, and we'll also be looking very closely to it, Division Heartland. If you were to go ahead and weigh what's going on right now, we've been told in the Division 2 universe that we're going to be getting content in February. And there's also talk that Heartland may also be coming out in February, which is really weird. But before we even dive into all of this, let's kind of back up a little bit with Ghost Recon Breakpoint. The developers of Ubisoft Paris were able to go ahead and add a free update called Operation Motherland. This update has been well accepted by the community. A lot of people have given their opinions. Some say it's okay, some say it's not really okay. Some have said, well, this should have been in the game day one. I guess at the end of the day, we can say checkmark, Ghost Recon Breakpoint is back on track for whatever it is they want to do. I believe they can expand upon this. As many people will come back into Ghost Recon Breakpoint or have come back to play Motherland, I believe if they want to go ahead from here and pivot into a new DLC, they have the capability to do so. Now, in the case of The Division, nonetheless, ours is a whole different case. We don't know if they're going to be bringing any DLC after the game mode that's coming in February, but we are also looking at Ghost Recon and the way they've treated it. It seems to me that they're more than likely going to continue the universe little by little. They'll more than likely add this new game mode and eventually continue to just drip feed other things into the whole system before they maybe decide to show if they're going to be continuing the universe or if they're going to start with another Division 3 game. And this brings us to the elephant in the room more than any other thing, which is Heartland. Now, there's so much going on around this game. It's insane. In fact, I honestly did not want to make a video about Heartland. I wanted to just go ahead and just watch and see what will be going on. But here's what's pretty much, on the pipeline. A lot of people are talking about Heartland here on Twitter, but the things that have really caught my eye is this particular poster here on Twitter. Now, other media was somewhat removed by the development team, but has been somewhat reinstated. If you guys noticed just now, my Twitter feed just refreshed because when I first went there, it said, well, the image has been removed because of the copyright holder has decided that this is what, they're going to do. But then now we have it on here. So you do see this poster. It says The Division Heartland, the Ubisoft original. A lot of people in the Division community are quite excited about this, and there is right now a closed test going on, and I think people are saying that the closed test is going on console. Now, I have no idea about what this closed test is, so don't ask me in the comment section. I don't know anything about it. I've been, enjoying myself playing Heartland and playing Mortal Kombat 11 and just, delving into all kinds of other games. And I strongly believe that, it seems to me that the talk about this content coming in February sounds a little bit more genuine, and I'll kind of place my little pins on why I think so. So I backed up a little bit and we talked about Breakpoint. I showed you guys a few things here and there. So Motherland has taken its own airwaves in terms of attention. Okay, everyone's already enjoyed the attention from Motherland, and that's already going on in its own thing. One thing I've noticed as I've been learning about Ubisoft's pipeline and the way they do things is that they hardly overlap a lot of their video game announcements and releases. Even though they have a lot of games, they have a chunk of games more than any other developer in the industry at a given time in terms of release windows. They still try not to step on each other's toes when it comes to announcements. So with Ghost Recon out of the way, the very next successor in terms of a release date is not even The Division. It's actually Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Extraction. If you go on your Uplay, if you go into, some of those other places that they do some marketing, you're going to see that Rainbow Six Extraction is what's on the hot topic right now. There's a heavy marketing stunt around it. They've actually reduced the price point for the pre-order. And so that's what they're going to be pushing because that has a January 2022 release date, not a 2020, a January 2022 release date. And so that's what they're going to be hammering on as time goes on. Now, I've noticed that the marketing for the Ghost Recon, I keep calling it Ghost Recon, dang it, the Rainbow Six extraction game is a little quiet nonetheless. I think they may be counting on a lot of the PC audience. I haven't seen too many banners on the PlayStation and the Xbox store. Maybe I'm not looking well, but I've been checking and I haven't seen anything. Perhaps they're going to use a Christmas tactic just like they did with Immortals Fenyx Rising. They never really have those windows like every other calendar year for different studios. Calendar year for Ubisoft is like in March or something. So December is just like a regular month for them. So they can continue to ramp up marketing and use December as a heavy push for the pre-orders for people during the Christmas season. And I think the price point, basically coming down is because of its January release, and people may not necessarily be willing to part with a lot of funds. So they've decided to reduce the funds. And so why I mentioned this is because this is where it's pivotal that once this game releases, then we're going to see more marketing ramp up for The Division and The Division Heartland respectively. So that is a Division 2 and a Division Heartland content. So you kind of follow these things sequentially and you kind of know that something's coming. So even if Heartland, based on the rumors, doesn't show up in February, you can still kind of put your mind on saying, okay, the Division 2 content that's been promised by massive Ubisoft is probably going to be dropping around that time. Maybe a PTS is probably going to be dropping in early February, right after the Ghost Recon, I keep saying Ghost Recon, right after the Rainbow Six game is released. And then you're going to see us basically start ramping up the Division 2. Now, there is something quite peculiar as well that this conversation needs to highlight, and that's the possibility that many are saying that it seems like Heartland and the Division 2's content that's scheduled for February are going to come out at the same time. Now, this is a possibility. There's a possibility to be able to use that to draw players back into the Division universe because now they have an overload and a flurry of content to deal with. There's also the possibility that it makes sense from a calendar perspective. That is, if Heartland is ready, that they basically ride quiet underneath all of the noise of Battlefield and the noise of Call of Duty. And then in January, when a lot of that hype has calmed down, people may be much more interested in a Tom Clancy game or two Tom Clancy games with content. So there's some logic to that, but I don't necessarily know what they're going to eventually come up with, but it's a very nice hypothesis to explore for those who are here in the community. But at the end of the day, I think what's happening is Ubisoft is recognizing the power of its Tom Clancy IP, the power of what it is that they have. And I think even if they want to go ahead and diversify a little bit, they need to understand that if they want to go a free-to-play way, they have to use the elements that would attract players of the same nature and still make sure that fans that are already within that universe are able to resonate with. So Heartland, for what it is, looks like a game that is set in the Division universe and looks like a game so far from what we know that's more than likely going to be playing like the old Division games. It's not necessarily going to be like what they showed in terms of Ghost Recon Frontline or Tom Clancy's X-Defiant. I mean, those are way off the mark when it comes to what these games already represented, if you get what I mean. And so I think if you want to draw people into the universe and you're trying to use a free-to-play model, I think Heartland is going to be your example if you were to actually go that direction. And so that's probably, in my opinion, what they want to do, because to me, I strongly believe that they really do have a lot more for the Division in stock when it comes to the original timeline. That is from New York to Washington, D.C., back to New York, and then even something for a Division 3 game down the road. I've mentioned my reasoning as to why I think this is the case. I don't need to beat the dead horse deader. I know that I've already mentioned that as to why, in terms of creative directors, in terms of the staffing that they have, the expertise that they have in terms of who's going to direct a new game along the Division universe, especially now that the original directors for the Division 1 and 2 are both tied up in Avatar and Star Wars respectively. This is something that anyone who's paying attention should be taking note of, because eventually when it comes to fruition, if it doesn't come to fruition, we can at least say, well, this is what we expected, or why did they not go that direction? But I'll leave you guys here and on this video. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section about all of this. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that Heartland is necessary right now to drop? Or do you think that Heartland has to represent something even while the Division 2 has its own content? So both of them dropping at the same time will not necessarily be a conflict. If anything, I think it'll be welcomed. Let me know if that's your position as well. And I guess I'll talk to you guys in another video. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll talk soon. Peace out.